welcome you to another edition of My Local Radio Sports Network's Homefield Advantage. I'm Elon Olive, joined by Anthony Colasuno and Aaron Poling, and this show is brought to you by our friends at Bear Lake Memorial Hospital, the most caring hospital on earth, and by Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming. We got a great show for you today. It's the Tuesday show, so we're going to focus on, I guess you could call them the Olympic-style sports?
Yeah, let's give it that name. Definitely
the Olympic-style sports.
Olympic-style sports. Yeah, the sports that everyone looks at when the Olympics come around. Be like, for example, swimming, Michael Phelps, wrestling, Kurt Angle,
with a broken neck.
With a broken neck. He did win a gold medal with a broken neck.
So, yeah.
And he'll tell you about it.
Yes.
We got some great results for the Bridger Valley and Evanston. Rich, though, it's all about preparing for that state basketball tournament. All the other sports have wrapped up for the winter, so we won't be talking too much about Rich, but we will let Aaron kind of talk a little bit about the RPI that came out yesterday and our pleasant surprise about it.
Yeah, so for the Rebels, first they're going to be the 1 seed on the boys' side, which, kind of talking with people around the program, we kind of figured if they went and did what they were supposed to do over the weekend, win both games, which they did, figured they had a good shot of moving up to at least 2. And Panguitch ended up losing, so that knocked them down. Rich ends up at number 1 on the boys' side. On the girls' side, they are number 3 going into the tournament, which might not be the worst thing in the world, but, you actually get to know who you're playing for the first 2 weeks, as the Rebels will play the Monticello Buckaroos on the girls' side.
Last question before we wrap up this topic and go into what today's show is about, which is, I guess we're now calling it the Olympic-style sports. Is that official? That's what we're going with?
Yeah, Olympic style. Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk about, of course, the 3A West Wrestling Conference tournament happening in Riverton over the weekend, and the state championship swim and dive for the boys happening over on the east side of the state. We'll talk about that in a minute, but just one question for Aaron. With them getting the bye on both sides, there are 0 games for Rich this week. It is a complete week off. Is this one of those fine lines between rest and rust?
I think so, because both teams were on massive winning streaks heading into the end of the season, but also getting that rest in, I think, is really going to help. You kind of see the legs were getting a little heavy, I think, in this last weekend. So getting that week off, but for the most part, there's only 2 or 3 play-in games. Everyone's in the same boat. So, I would not like to use that as an excuse, because all the top teams are going to have this week off, and, whether they battle rest versus rust. I imagine the Rebels had yesterday off from practice because they didn't have school. But I think from here on out, they'll start to hit it hard, and they'll kind of they'll probably have a walk-through practice on Monday and Tuesday next week, and then get themselves ready for 4 games in 4 days, hopefully.
So that is what's going on with Rich. It's going to be a run to the state tournament, and we cannot wait to see what happens there. Let's go ahead and kick it off with the 3A West Regional Wrestling Tournament in Wyoming. We have the boys' results kind of already ready to go. Now we just need to find those girls' results, and there they are right there. So as a team, let's go ahead and look at team scores. Star Valley is your regional champion. Or your West Regional Champion, 4A West Regional Champion.
Boys or girls?
Girls.
Girls. Okay, thank you.
Evanston is 4th with 85 points, and Lyman is 9th. So it isn't separating the 3A, 4A because I don't think there's enough girls wrestling yet. So it's kind of the West region and the girls region. But Evanston takes 4th. Lyman takes 9th. Let's go ahead and look at the results from each of the I guess you can say each of the brackets. But at 100 pounds, Emily Belling of Lyman takes 5th place. At 105 pounds, you have no one from Evanston or Mountain View or Lyman in there. At 110 pounds, Gracelyn Allen of Lyman is 7th. She'll be going to state. At 115 pounds, Sydney Lichty of Evanston is 3rd. She'll be going to state. And at 120 pounds, no one from Evanston or Lyman there. At 125 pounds, Eliza Clegg of Lyman takes 2nd. Leah Larkin of Evanston takes 3rd. So a good showing for both of our schools there at the 125-pound mark.
Definitely, and Eliza Clegg won the 125 pound division at the Ronthon. So her placing second at regionals, that could be a telltale sign of she knows how to go out there on the mat in those big moments, and could definitely be a placer for state as she placed her regionals.
At the 130-pound mark, Joanna Saavedra of Evanston takes second. At 135, you have Braxlyn Jorgensen of Mountain View taking fourth. And then at the 140-pound, Peyton Hayden of Lyman takes third. Kylie Schultz takes fifth. And that's a good showing there for the Eagles at that range.
All right. You get 2 state placers. That's, 2 amazing athletes and 2 amazing students that qualify for state. Absolutely huge for the wrestling program.
Moving on to the 170-pound mark, you have Harley McDonald of Evanston taking 7th place. And then Sierra Lamb of Evanston is the regional champion at 190. At 235, you have Evanston's Lexi Matthews taking 6th. So Evanston takes 4th. Lyman also with a very respectable finish as well, as they will take 9th. Mountain View with only 1 wrestler there, but she places and she's going to be moving on as well. Actually, Mountain View did finish 22nd.
Yeah, and just all-out good showing from Evanston, Lyman, and Mountain View. It is always good when you get those state placers, because not only you have a chance of winning a state title for your school, but also girls wrestling is one of those sports across the nation right now that is gaining so much traction, and so many states. Nevada made it a official sport, I believe, actually this year. And girls wrestling is just taking off everywhere, and it's great to see that you're getting more girls into wrestling, but also you're seeing so much success here in the state of Wyoming, especially for the teams we cover.
And I think it's the right time for this to be taking off. It just feels like this is something that needed to happen in the 2020s. It just feels like it's the right time for this. It's the right time for this thing to be taking off. And we've seen it kind of grow in Utah for the last couple of years. And now they have a state tournament in Wyoming as well. We're starting to see it happen all over the country. Before long, you're going to start hearing about NCAA women's wrestling. It'll be interesting to see how much women's wrestling, how much people follow it and pick it up in the Olympics this year in Paris. It just seems like now is the perfect time for all this to be happening.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, I like the growth of the sport, because not every female athlete is going to be a cheerleader or a basketball player or, other winter sports. There are some female athletes that would like to wrestle, and with to the point of the Mountain View girl placing, hopefully that can help the Mountain View program start to build a little bit more. If, hey, if this girl can make it, why can't I? And, in Utah, it's starting, like you said, it's starting to grow. Rich last year sent the wrestler to college to wrestle. The year before, they did the same. And this year, they're going to probably do it again, especially with Nia Jolly being in the senior class. And it's just great to see the sport grow.
And I love you saying they're doing it. Why can't I? And it just goes to show when they're going to have the state tournament, you're going to have little girls in attendance, 7, 8 years old, looking at us being like, this is so cool. I want to do it now, and I want to represent my school, and maybe I could be the person on top of that podium holding up a state title.
It's all about competing for these athletes in the moment, but I do wonder if that does kind of give you a little bit of pride being one of the first. I mean, these girls are going to state, and you're absolutely right. There's going to be little sisters of boys that are competing, their own little sisters, their little cousins, their little nieces. They're going to be watching them and thinking, you know what, this is something that is now an avenue that is available to me, and the sport's only going to grow from here.
Oh, absolutely, and especially with Wyoming and how much all-around athletes we see who play football in the fall, and then basketball in the winter, and then soccer in the spring, or whatever sports are available throughout the year, or football to swimming to the next sport. It is so big here in Wyoming that all these sports that we cover on, football, basketball, volleyball, the main ones, and of course you have swimming and wrestling, the Olympic style sports. They're only going to get bigger and get more popular as time goes by, and it's a wonderful sight to see.
I'm interested to get Aaron's opinion on this because you and I both come from small towns. We both came from high schools where I think my graduating class was like 72. So we both kind of know what that's like and having to fill these activities. But I would say in a small town especially, the more activities, the better.
Oh, absolutely. And you wouldn't say Las Vegas is a small town from Anthony's perspective?
My graduating class is 800 kids. So.
See, my school doesn't cycle through 800 kids for like 5 years. So, but no, I like your point. I mean, obviously it's going to be a lot tougher to fill all the activities out to the complete max. But, wrestling, although if you're not successful as a team, you can be successful as an individual. And I can see like the program back home for me. I could see girls getting into that program and excelling. It's kind of the way it should be. If you want to wrestle, you should be able to wrestle no matter who you are. Because even growing up, we saw female wrestlers, they would just have to wrestle the males. And now I'm glad that they're getting enough support where it can be an all-female state tournament and we can determine a champion at each weight class. And it's so much fun. And, plus it's another competition for a state tournament. Who does not love a competition at a state tournament? I love any chance you can get the best competitors from any sport and get them together in one building and make them go at it. I really enjoy that. And it's just a lot more fun.
Let's go ahead and move on to the boys' regional results from Riverton. So as a team, this was very, very interesting to me. Green River is your regional champions. Cody takes third. Powell takes fourth. Evanston takes fifth. Lyman takes seventh. Mountain View ninth. So it'll be really, really interesting to kind of see how that goes. Of course, at 3A next year, I think Pinedale is the highest left because I think Green River, Evanston, Riverton, they're all going 4A next year. So that'll be really, really interesting to kind of see how that plays out. Let's go ahead and go to those results. And let's start at the 106-pound mark. Evanston's Cale Stokes finishes 5th, and Tayson Moon of the Red Devils finishes 7th. Garrett Redden of Mountain View finishes 8th.
And that's just great job for Garrett placing, and especially for that program that's still building right now and gaining more steam and talking to some of the wrestlers at Mountain View. Sometimes they have to combine with Lyman when they face the bigger schools. Yeah. And just getting that placer helps out so much in that, hey, now you get to go compete for a state title.
Moving on to 113, Jasper Allen of Lyman takes 5th. Xander Tippett of Evanston takes 6th. So a good showing there. And we're just reading the placers, the guys that have punched their ticket for state in each of these categories from those schools. But Xander Tippett of Evanston comes up with a 6th place, and Jasper Allen 5th out of Lyman. Moving on to 120, Evanston's Keith Shelton takes 7th, and Riker Frogner of Evanston takes 8th. So the Red Devils will be sending 2 to Casper in the 120 division. At 126, Colby Hamilton of Evanston takes 4th, and Timber Fitch of Evanston takes 6th. So that's a good finish there for the Red Devils at 126. At 132, Ryder Wilson takes 3rd at the 132 out of Evanston. And then Kaysen Hill of Lyman, he takes 6th.
Good job for Kaysen. And, of course, Lyman is a great wrestling program with a great history. And now they get another placer to go to state and compete for a title. And just an amazing sight to see. Kaysen's a very strong wrestler.
At 138, we have Timber Van Giesen of Lyman taking 3rd and Caden Marler of Evanston taking 7th. Tell you what, that Red Devil team is going to be sending a lot of Red Devils to Casper.
We're hearing a lot of Red Devils right now on this list, and that's just amazing to see that and, to possibly compete for multiple state titles. And we know the history of Evanston's wrestling program, very historic history.
At 144, it's Kyson Hamilton of Evanston taking 2nd place. Bronson Sims, also of Evanston, he takes 7th.
Yeah, man, a lot of Red Devils.
Yeah, I said it before, we'll say it again.
A lot of Red Devils and just some great wrestlers.
Moving on to 150, Jackson Hayter from Evanston takes 5th. Cade Allen of Mountain View takes 6th.
And that's just the 2nd placer on this list for Mountain View, and just an amazing effort by them in building this program once again. And I can definitely see the Buffaloes being a force in the future.
Absolutely. At 157, Sam Gregory, the Eagle out of Lyman, he takes second place. The freshman Red Devil, Bridger Roberts, is going to state as a freshman, taking 8th.
Now, congrats to Sam, but also for Bridger, a freshman going to state, a must-watch name for the next couple of years.
I was going to say, he's going to be one of those names that we're excited about for the next few years.
Yeah.
I mean, he won I think it was the Wyoming Open last year when he was in 8th grade. Now he's a freshman. He's off to state. He finishes 8th. And at a not a easy weight class either. At 157, I mean, you've got Kale Konozovic out of Green River, who beat Gregory, Landon Forstrom out of Pinedale, Jaden Walther out of Green River. Just a who's who there at that weight class.
And congrats to Sam. He's, I've interviewed him before. He's a great kid, very strong kid, running back for the Lyman football team. Loves just to bulldoze through people. So wrestling is also one of his favorite sports as well. And when we were talking, one of his goals was after football season to just start training for wrestling and try to place for state and at regionals as well. And he's done that.
At 165, both Evanston and Mountain View with impressive turnouts. Let's talk about Mountain View first. Jay Schultz and Landon Solis, each of Mountain View taking 5th and 6th place. And then for Evanston, you have Cole Robinette in 3rd place and Luke Guild in 8th place. So between Mountain View and Evanston, you have half of the competitors representing the West.
Man. And out of Uinta County as well for the 165 division. That's a great representation of wrestling on this little corner of the state.
All 3 schools represented at 175 as Carson Erdley of Mountain View takes 3rd. Daniel Watson of Lyman takes 6th. And did anybody doubt Brady Roberts is your regional champion at 175 out of Evanston?
Brady Roberts is just red hot right now. So many stories about him on Wild Preps and just his rise. And now he has a chance to not only, he already claimed the regional title for his division, but also to claim a state title.
And he took 2nd at the Ron Thon to the number 1 wrestler in 4A. So he's the favorite. He's the favorite going in at 175, so we'll be watching that with great interest this weekend. Moving on to 190. Well, we had a Lyman-Evanston final, and Morgan Hatch of the Eagles beats the Red Devil Aiden Lichty at 190, so Hatch is your regional champion. Looking through the rest of it, there's only 2 people that are represented from the schools we cover, but Morgan Hatch beats Aiden Lichty. Looks like, trying to find the score here. 12-2 in a major decision.
And good job for Morgan. He's the defending state champion for that weight division, and I know it's on his mind. It's to repeat and to finish off your senior year as a state champion and cap off your high school wrestling career.
At 215, Brighton Lamberti from Lyman takes 5th. Sergio Lozano of Evanston takes 6th.
Great placers, both those guys, amazing wrestlers, and we're seeing a common interest here. A lot of Buffaloes, Eagles, and Red Devils are going to be making that trip to state.
And at the heavyweight 285, you have Riker Abbott of Lyman finishing 5th, and Kobe Jones of Mountain View finishing 8th.
Good job for both those guys. I've done interviews with Kobe in the past, and great kid, very spunky attitude, very uppity about himself, and just a great overall person. And also wrestling at that weight class is just flat out amazing. I would get pinned on my back every single time.
Seriously.
But those kids are just powerful high school athletes and well-deserved honors all around.
Reminder for the team scores: Evanston finishes 5th at 143. Lyman finishes 7th. Mountain View finishes 9th. Green River is your regional champion. All right, that's going to do it for this segment of Home Field Advantage, brought to you by Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming and the Bear Lake Memorial Hospital. When we come back, we will break down the 3A Boys State Swimming Champion. We got a state champion in Uinta County. Can't wait to talk about it. You're tuned in to Home Field Advantage right here on mylocalradio.com.
When you have an emergency, choose Bear Lake Memorial Hospital. Open 24/7, the professional emergency room staff is trained for trauma, medical, cardiac, pediatric, orthopedic, and obstetric emergencies. Bear Lake Memorial is a critical access level 3 trauma center, offering immediate access to radiology, lab services, surgery, and internal medicine consults. The ER teams are well-trained professionals who are ready to act. When you have an emergency, Bear Lake Memorial Hospital, the most caring hospital on earth.
Out here, we've always worked remote. Out here, stress usually refers to the pull on a rope. Where a stroll in the city is also a stroll in the great outdoors. Where work is a way of life, and life is good. Out here, the backyards are big, and the deals, they're even bigger. This is southwestern Wyoming, and it's where you can get the biggest deals on a vehicle you want with plenty of hometown hospitality. Heritage Auto, your hometown dealer with the biggest deals.
Whether it's for your home, your ranch, your equipment, or your business, when you need propane, count on the best. T7 Propane in Woodruff. The safe and professional team at T7 Propane offers quality product and the most responsive propane service in the area, so you can enjoy the affordability, reliability, and efficiency of propane. For heating, cooking, grilling, motor fuel, and more, count on the team at T7 for your personal or business propane needs. 435-793-4208.
At Reese Auto Service in Lyman, you will find highly skilled mechanics who will get the job done right the first time. They work on anything from light line jobs of tire alignments, suspension work, and oil changes to heavy line jobs of engine replacement, differentials, and all powertrain components. Make sure all your recreational vehicles are working at top speed by getting them checked at Reese Auto Service in Lyman so your time having fun doesn't end early. Reese Auto Service, 541 State Highway 413, Lyman.
And we welcome you back to My Local Radio Sports Network's Homefield Advantage, brought to you by the Bullock Agency of Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming, for when benefits matter, and of course Bear Lake Memorial Hospital, the most caring hospital on earth. Elon Olive, Aaron Poling, and Anthony Colasuno coming to you live from the Les Schwab Plains Tires broadcast booth. Also brought to you by Union as well. Also a big thank you to First Bank of Wyoming for being our presenting sponsor, as well as, who's it over in Rich?
T7 Propane.
That's right, T7 Propane. We cannot bring these broadcasts and these sportscasts to you without their support. Moving on, we got some exciting results from 3A State Boys Swim and Dive, and it happened over the weekend in Laramie. And let's go ahead and run through these. Of course, Lyman, known for their swimming program. Evanston has kind of been on the up over the last few years. So let's go ahead and kind of start with the boys' 200-yard medley relay. Lyman takes the gold. Evanston finishes fourth, just off the podium, right behind Riverton by, it looked like, a second and a half.
Yeah, great job for those Lyman boys who took gold and are state champions now, and also just congrats to that was Lander who actually took gold. Congrats to Lander. Yeah, but also just congrats to the swimmers from Uinta County in that category alone for qualifying for state and then being able to swim in that high pressure environment.
Riverton takes the bronze at 141.92. Evanston 142.6, right where they needed to be, just off of the podium. Lyman finishes seventh by winning the B final over Powell, Rollins, Green River, and Douglas, as well as Sublette County. So that's a good performance there by the Eagles.
Yeah, great performance. And, for these B teams, it's just a great experience for them to be there and to get that. Actually, it's B final.
Yeah.
Sorry, excuse me there. But just great over experience for all these swimmers.
Moving on to the 200-yard freestyle relay. All the action for Evanston and Lyman took place in the B final as they weren't able to place anyone in the A final. But Wyatt Sawyer of Evanston, the senior, wins the B final, finishing 7th overall. A minute 53:33 in the 200-yard freestyle. Evanston's Hiram Bell takes 3rd in the B final. The sophomore ends up 9th overall, and Braddock Brown takes 11th overall in finishing 5th in the B final. So good showing there for the Red Devils there. In the 200-yard individually medley, Jacob Olson of Evanston takes 4th place in the A final, just off the podium, 2:08.09 to 2:08.95.
Wow.
So just about a second outside of it. So a good performance there by the sophomore Jacob Olson. And when you look at what's ahead of him, Reed McFadden of Lander, who won it, he's a senior, so you got to think that might bump him up to potentially being one of the top 3 next year. However, they are jumping to 4A swimming next year, so we'll see how that affects. For the rest of the Evanston Lyman conglomerate, Hanky Phillips of Evanston takes 3rd in the B final. That gives him 9th overall. In the boys' 50-yard freestyle, and this is a blink and you miss it, Evanston's Jackson Daniels takes 5th. And in the B final, Mason Imoni comes in 4th. The freshman puts up a time of 23.58, making him top 10 in the state.
Congratulations to Mason, but also he's a freshman.
Yep.
You know, we talked about that so much when me and Elin covered the Evanston Lyman swim meet, and we're looking at this kid just going super fast in the pool, and we look, oh man, he's a freshman. You know, just great job for Mason, and also for anyone at the state tournament, because these are the fastest swimmers in the 3A category, in the 3A region for Wyoming. Just a great honor to qualify for state.
Moving on to the 100-yard fly. Evanston's Jackson Daniels takes 5th. Evan Bentley of Lyman takes 6th. So 2 guys in the top 6 there. In the B final, Lyman didn't place anyone, so everybody up in that A final to compete for a state championship. Moving on to the 100-yard freestyle, Evanston's Jacob Olson, the sophomore, ends up 6th, and in the B final, Trey Buckner, the freshman out of Lyman, takes 4th. That gives him 10th overall. Braddock Brown is 11th overall. Moving on to the boys' 500-yard freestyle. Wyatt Sawyer of Evanston just off the podium by about 11 seconds rather. The senior finishes 4th, and then for Lyman, they had Odin Ayer finishing 12th, and for Evanston, Chase Dennis, the sophomore, finishes in the top 10. And the 200-yard freestyle relay, Evanston just misses out on the podium again, finishing 4th place, and Lyman finishes 6th place. So good performance by them. 100-yard backstroke. Lyman's Evan Bentley finishes 5th. Hanky Phillips of Evanston finishes 6th. In the B final for the backstroke, Hiram Bell of Evanston finishes 4th, giving him a 10th place overall. In the boys' 100-yard breaststroke, in the A final, Evanston's Kyler Hoagman finishes 5th. And in the B final, Lyman's Mason Imoni is down there at 12th, so a good performance by the freshman. Moving on to the 400-yard freestyle relay, it is Evanston finishing 5th and Lyman winning the B final, finishing 7th. Overall, Lander is your state champions once again. The era continues for the Tigers. Evanston finishes 3rd place and Lyman finishes 8th place. One event we did not talk about because we will have a much longer discussion about it when we come back right after this is the boys 1 meter diving. And boy, do we got some stuff to talk about when we'll do that right in a few minutes, actually. But first, real quick, Aaron, you've been awfully quiet. You've seen some swim meets. Just kind of your reactions to the results that we've heard from Evanston and Lyman in this one.
Yeah, Lander, of course, continues the dominance, which, I mean, I think we kind of expected. It's real hard to knock the king off their perch when they've been cemented in that perch for so long. But
29, is it?
It's not like, I think it's like
now in a
29 straight state titles.
Well,
now.
let's put this into perspective. They were winning state titles consecutively before I was born.
Same here as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
especially
Yes.
for you because you're not a lot, but you're younger than me. But I mean, congratulations to all the swimmers that made it down to the state the state meet. It's not an easy task. We see the pure joy and just adulation of these swimmers when they make it. Last year, I think I had the last chance meet with you between Green River and Evanston, and just seeing those kids make their goal of making it down to state. And now some of these kids that have made it already, we talk about the freshmen and the sophomores that make it this early. The onus is on them. If they get to work, go to the lab, who knows what they can do in their career, especially when you have such a great start to it.
So it is confirmed 28 straight boys titles for the Lander Valley Tigers.
Wow.
They won 8 of the 12 events.
Winning over half the events, that's just a phenomenal feat for them. And going back to what Aaron said of those freshmen and sophomores that make state, this helps them collegiate-wise if they want to swim at the collegiate level, because when they go to recruitment camps and they send in their resume of what they did over the season, college coaches are going to look at that and say, oh, wow, they made state as a sophomore or freshman and either won the B final or placed in the A final. That is huge, because now that coach or that recruiter is going to have that kid's name circled and is going to be following them for the next couple of years, and potentially by their junior or senior year could say, hey, kid, you done good enough? Here's the offer.
Absolutely. I could not agree more with you. But we got to take a break. When we come back, we've got the final event to talk about, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. You don't want to miss it. You're tuned in to Homefield Advantage on mylocalradio.com, presented by Bear Lake Memorial Hospital and Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming.
Life is better in the country. KNYN, Fort Bridger, Evanston, Woodruff, 99.1, the country you want to be in.
Hey there, I'm Jake Major, your local Medicare and insurance benefits advisor for the Bullock Agency of Wyoming. With over 25 years of experience protecting families in rural America, we understand the importance of having affordable insurance coverage. Whether you're searching for extra coverage or looking to understand and switch your Medicare options, I can help you find a range of top-rated insurance companies and tailor-made packages based on your needs. Call me, Jake Major, today at 307-209-4685, and let's discuss your insurance options. We're the Bullock Agency of Wyoming, when benefits matter.
If you've never heard a mechanic say they truly care, then you've been at the wrong place. Stacy's Repair in Woodruff is a family-owned and operated business open since 1992. Offering all types of maintenance and repair services, you can be sure your vehicle is operating at its best. Whether your vehicle is older or the newest model, gas or diesel, we fix and maintain them all. Also offering chip repair, windshield replacement, and tires. When your vehicle needs a mechanic, bring it to the ones who truly care. Stacy's Repair in Woodruff.
Founded in 1938 with the hopes and dreams of serving the Bridger Valley, Benedict's Trading Company was started. Now 85 years and 3 generations later, Benedict's Market is still serving the Bridger Valley by offering the highest quality meats and fresh produce to having fresh baked items and hot deli options. Benedict's Market is your one stop for all of your grocery needs. Benedict's Market offers the best services in a modern setting to make your shopping both quick and easy. Visit them today at 950 North Highway 414, Mountain View, Wyoming.
And we welcome you back to our final segment of today's Homefield Advantage, brought to you by Bear Lake Memorial Hospital, the most caring hospital on earth, and Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming. I'm Elon Olive, joined by Aaron Pulling and Anthony Colasuno, and we've gone through 1 week of this new show format where we do these 3 new shows. And what are you guys thinking so far?
I think it's amazing because you get to, of course, showcase the Olympiad type of sports on Tuesday, and then Wednesday is just the feel-good stories, but also, drill, cheer, and you go into drama and other after-school activities that we don't get to cover. And then, of course, Thursday is our primetime day where we cover our sports that usually have weekend games that are in the primetime slots. I just think it's an amazing start, and we get to showcase everyone.
Yeah, and if you just think back to the old format, we wouldn't have had a lot of time for, especially Evanston, with everything that happened this week. We wouldn't have had a lot of time to get real in depth about what we're about to get into. I don't want to spoil it, but that's a little bit of a cliffhanger for you. Teaser, as we like to call it in our business. But, it gives us more time to really discuss those results in depth and what it could mean for the program.
And also pay proper attention
Yes.
to what happened. All right, let's get into it. So, in October or November, can't remember exactly what month, I think it was October, the girls' state swim and dive championships were. Rachel Johnson of Evanston was undefeated, and she went into the state championship and put on the dives of her life to come home as state champion as a sophomore. And it got us thinking, okay, do we have a little bit of a girls diving dynasty? And then along comes Eric Hughes, the senior out of Evanston, and he wins a state championship on Saturday. And it wasn't even close, beating Bryson Lang of Cody 428 to 396.
Wow.
So and he won. He was leading after the first day by a wide margin. Continue his momentum. Terry Wilt of Evanston, the dive to coach, is named the assistant coach of the year for this entire 3A, and Coach Levine and Coach Schmidt are named co-coaches of the year for the entire 3A as well. So, do we have a diving dynasty here? I mean, Eric Hughes is graduating. Evanston did not have anyone else make the finals, but I mean, of course, Rachel Johnson's going to be a junior next year, defending state champion. Diving apparently is Evanston's thing.
Apparently is. And just, when you can sweep both diving championships for 3A on both sides, that's huge, because now you place your marker down on that category and say, come at us with your best shot. Mm-hmm.
Well, and with Evanston jumping to 4A next year, this is about Eric Hughes. It's his moment. But with Evanston jumping to 4A next year, Rachel Johnson's going to get everyone's best shot next year as the reigning state champion, because I think a lot of people don't just see her as the reigning state champion, but one of the top divers in the state, bar none. Eric Hughes, he put up a 428.85. I'm curious to compare those, and go ahead. I'm curious to compare those with the 4A results to see where he would have finished in 4A, because that is a very, very, very high score.
Oh, that's a very phenomenal score. And also just congratulations to Eric as well. Evanston's last year in the 3A, and you claim a state title. And also, when you're a senior high school athlete, you want to go out on your best leg, your best foot. And he does that. And not only, it wasn't a slim win. It was dominating fashion. And that's just even better when you can leave a venue and with a state title in your hands and say, I did my best today. I put my best foot forward. I'm a state champion. And now his name gets to go up in the rafters of Red Devil Gymnasium of 2023, 2024 state diving champion Eric Hughes.
Yeah, and you and I saw him in person at the Lyman Invite a couple of weeks ago, and we both kind of watched and thought, Evanston's. Of course, Coach Wilt is going to be a legend in Evanston now.
Oh, absolutely.
She coaches one state champion. First year, she coaches 2 to the top 5. And then the next year, she has a girl wins the state championship. And now Eric Hughes wins the boys state championship. Coach Wilt is definitely going to be in Evanston, just one of the most, I think, successful coaches that Evanston's seen to have this much success this early.
Yeah, and what it also does is it's going to give the coaches more students to work with, because you see someone win a championship and suddenly. It's almost like in a basketball team where, a team starts passing the ball, suddenly passing is cool. Well, now diving is cool in Evanston. So there's going to be a lot of athletes that want to just do diving in Evanston because of, seeing both boys and girls state championships being brought home by Evanston divers.
I was about to ask, does that mean we're going to see we see it happen all the time in the Olympics. Whenever someone finally wins a gold medal for the first time for their country, all of a sudden that particular sport, you see it jump in popularity because everybody wants to do it. I was going to ask, I mean, and I think you might answer the question a little bit. Are we going to see a growth in Evanston swim and dive because of the success that they have had this season?
Oh, absolutely. I think you definitely will see a growth, and if more state placers can come out of the diving area for Evanston, you're going to see even more growth. And, then students are going to tell incoming students or students that want to join the swim program, hey, go to this coach, an amazing coach, and she'll help you, he or she will help you get there to your top form in that competition and will lead you to success.
We will definitely be hearing from Eric Hughes on one of our Red Devil Corner segments coming up, or also our Red Devil Spotlight in the pregame show for the Jackson Hole basketball game on Saturday. But we'll talk about that on Thursday. But congratulations to Eric Hughes. He is your 24 3A state diving champion as the Red Devils sweep the diving championships. Rachel Johnson wins the girls. Eric Hughes wins the boys. And that is going to wrap things up for this edition of Home Field Advantage. We invite you to tune in tomorrow at the same time, same place, for the My Local Radio student section. That's going to be our show where we focus more on, I guess you could say, the cultural activity, as also some human interest stories. And Aaron, I understand we got a piece coming up on the Rich Band, which is a very unique band. Don't spoil it, but kind of give us a little bit of a teaser for that.
Yeah, so the Rich Band is not the type of high school band that you would think like orchestra style. We just simply do not have enough students out at Rich High School because there's a lot of the band students are also athletes as well. So it's more of a rock band type, and we'll have a performance of that rock band type of band for you tomorrow.
So yeah, tune in to the My Local Radio student section. It is tomorrow on K9 at 10:30. KQ at 4 o'clock, and live at 10:30 on mylocalradio.com. That's going to do it for this week's edition. Big thank you to our sponsors, Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming, for when benefits matter, and Bear Lake Memorial Hospital, the most caring hospital on earth. I'm Elon Olive.
I'm Aaron Bowling.
I'm Anthony Colasuno.
And we will see you guys next time.